What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a huge breaking Liverpool transfer news video, and we will have two massive stories to cover. The first one is that Liverpool are set to receive a £40 million offer for Fabinho from Al Ittihad, the club that signed Karim Benzema and N'Golo Kante and other players like Jota from Celtic, and they will approach Liverpool with a concrete offer to buy Fabinho, and Liverpool are going to bid for Romeo Lavia as soon as either Henderson or Fabinho leaves Liverpool, because Liverpool first wanted to move on at least one midfielder before we go in to sign for Romeo Lavia. But in the second part of the video we will talk about the huge news that Jordan Henderson he's set to accept Al Ittihad's massive £700,000 per week contract, and I think that's tax free as well, which is the equivalent of earning £1.3 million per week in wages if he was playing in the Premier League. No player, not even Erling Haaland or Kevin De Bruyne, are on this kind of salary, so it would be literally a life-changing offer for Jordan Henderson, and that's why David Ornstein is saying that he's seriously considering accepting this deal. But we will talk about that in the second part of this video. And if you enjoy these transfer news updates, make sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments below, should Liverpool accept 40 million for Fabinho? And apparently Al Ittihad will offer around 10 to 15 million pounds for Jordan Henderson, but first they want to agree that the deal with Henderson, personal terms, so Henderson is actually willing to move to Steven Gerrard's new club. So David Ornstein is reporting that Al Ittihad's bid for Fabinho, he's 29 years old, is expected to be worth as much as 40 million pounds, and it is anticipated the decision will move quickly one way or the other. Liverpool's main opposition to any move would be letting their starting defensive midfielder leave without a replacement. However, Liverpool are working, if Fabinho should leave, with Southampton's Romeo Lavia among a number of options under consideration. Fabinho still has 3 years remaining on his contract, and I don't think Liverpool particularly wanted to sell Fabinho, but 40 million for a 29-year-old is a very, very good offer. It's not outrageous money, because for example like Casemiro, who was like 30 years old when he left Real Madrid, Man United paid like 80 or 90 million for Casemiro, which was absolutely crazy money. Liverpool getting 40 million for Fabinho, literally we could sign with the same money Lavia, plus we would have of course Lavia's wages will be a lot lower than Fabinho's wages. And according to David Ornstein, Liverpool are seriously considering accepting this 40 million pound deal for Fabinho. Let me know, if you were in charge of Liverpool, would you accept the 40 million for Fabinho? I think Liverpool should, because Fabinho had a very inconsistent season, but I only would consider selling Fabinho if Liverpool can replace him with a much more dynamic, energetic midfielder, somebody like Romeo Lavia, for the same amount of money to get a 19-year-old defensive midfielder. Of course it's a risk, but if Romeo Lavia is seriously, if he has high potential, then Liverpool could sacrifice short-term gain for the long-term project, and this would be now a proper Liverpool midfield. However, I would be afraid if we both sold Henderson and Fabinho and we only signed one defensive midfielder. I think if we sell Fabinho, we absolutely will sign a defensive midfielder, somebody like Romeo Lavia. I would love to see Tchouaméni at Liverpool, but I'm not sure if Liverpool can make it happen. But also the details of this deal is very, very interesting, because Al Ittihad's current manager is the former Wolves and Tottenham manager Nuno Espirito Santo, and he was actually the manager at Rio Ave in Portugal when Fabinho was first bought into Europe from Brazilian football. And also they are both under the same agency, Gestifute, which is represented by Jorge Mendes, and the same agency just brought Jota from Celtic to Al Ittihad. So of course they have very, very close links And there is an obvious connection with these links, but of course it is not guaranteed that Liverpool will sell Fabinho. I think it also depends on whether Fabinho wants to move to Al Ittihad at 29 years old. That's a little bit too early. But the crazy money that is flying around in Saudi Arabia, I mean, Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio in his prime went to Saudi Arabia. Ruben Neves, who is even younger than Fabinho, in his prime as well, Premier League midfielder, also went to Saudi Arabia for crazy money. So this would be a proper midfield rebuild if Liverpool sold both Fabinho and Henderson. I think that wouldn't be very well received by Jurgen Klopp himself, but I think it will not be Jurgen Klopp really who decides whether Liverpool sell these players. It will be the Liverpool hierarchy, and I think Liverpool's management would be very happy to sell Henderson, because they didn't even want to give Henderson like a 3 or 4 year contract when he got a new contract. Jordan Henderson, apparently, according to David Ornstein as well, is also leaning towards a move to Saudi Arabia, but we will talk about that in the second half of this video. This Al Ittihad offer is really big, and it's really strange that now all of these footballers in the Premier League and in other leagues, they are just lining up in a queue to get this big fat paycheck from Saudi Arabia. What is happening in the European transfer window that all these clubs are signing these players? The money that is flying around is crazy. I mean, no European club can pay these kind of wages, maybe apart from Paris Saint-Germain, who are of course bankrolled by Qatar themselves. And if we sell both Fabinho and Henderson, then we absolutely have to sign two. We have to sign Lavia and we have to sign Khéphren Thuram. Lavia will be the replacement for Fabinho and Khéphren Thuram will be the replacement of Henderson. But that also is very risky, because you are changing a very experienced, seasoned, world-class defensive midfielder to a rookie in Lavia. He only has 1 season in senior football. Surely we need somebody with more experience. I would go for Tchouaméni, honestly, alongside Khéphren Thuram, or we could sign Lavia and Tchouaméni. So if we signed Lavia and another experienced midfielder, then I would be fine with this change. But also, it's not classic Liverpool to change so many midfielders. We would essentially sell 5 midfielders, because 3 of them went on a free transfer, but change 5 midfielders out and bringing in another 4. That would be a massive midfield overhaul. And some would argue that's exactly what Liverpool need, but it's also very difficult. It's a difficult job for Jurgen Klopp to mold this team and to straight away challenge for the Premier League title. But there are, of course, a lot of clubs who do this. Chelsea did this, and it was a cautionary tale. They changed too many players, I think, and it was an absolute disaster. At Liverpool, I don't think Jurgen Klopp wanted to do this, but the fact that we didn't sign a midfielder apart from Thiago for 4 years, basically it all came down to this transfer window, that we absolutely had to rebuild the midfield. We had no other option, and Henderson and Fabinho potentially leaving at the peak or near the peak of their careers is really painful. But I think only Fabinho is at the peak, and maybe he's on the other side of the peak and he's already going downhill. In the case of Jordan Henderson, he's definitely in the decline in the last part of his career. So if Henderson gets an incredible, life-changing amount of money, then fair enough. But also it doesn't sit right and doesn't sit well with me, with the way that Henderson talked out about inequality and all the marginalized group. Henderson stood up for them and he campaigned with them, and now he's going to Saudi Arabia where it's literally illegal to be gay. It's really strange to me. Of course, short term it will be very difficult for all these new midfielders to gel and to form a team and to be very cohesive in the tactical setup, and that's Jurgen Klopp's job to try to do that as well as possible. And of course that's why he's earning an incredible amount of money. But in the long run, if you are looking for the next 3 to 5 years, this might just be what Liverpool exactly need in their midfield and in their evolution. And now let's read actually the report from David Ornstein about Jordan Henderson leaning towards accepting an offer from Al Ettifaq. So as I said, he is getting 4 times his salary at the Saudi Arabian club instead of what he's earning at Liverpool. At Liverpool, he's earning at like £175,000 per week or £200,000 per week, and after taxes, actually in Saudi Arabia, he will be earning 4 times as much, which is absolutely crazy. Liverpool so far didn't get an offer from the Saudi Arabian club, but if Henderson gives his approval for the transfer, the clubs will immediately hold talks over the deal, and that could be as soon as the weekend. Henderson still has 2 years left on his contract. He signed a 4-year deal in 2021. What doesn't sit well with me is Henderson has been a leader of the pitch for Liverpool and for England, being one of the most vocal players in support of the marginalized groups and marginalized communities. However, in Saudi Arabia, homosexuality is illegal actually, and Henderson, of course, being a big advocate for those groups, I'm sure that they are absolutely fuming at this news, and you could already read the backlash online about Henderson even thinking about accepting this move. But it looks like, all footballers throw morals out of the window when it's a life-changing amount of money. I mean, I didn't expect Bobby Firmino, who is a deeply religious, deeply Christian family man, to accept Saudi Arabia's first offer when he could have gone to Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Sevilla, even AC Milan are looking for a striker. But the fact that Firmino is going to earn even more money in Saudi Arabia than what he was earning at Liverpool, probably he just couldn't resist the offer. He couldn't say no, and maybe Henderson is feeling like this. To earn this amount of money for 2 or 3 years, his whole family tree will be set for generations. And you can't really underestimate how big of an impact that would do. And maybe Henderson is thinking, I will get this amount of money and I will support these minority groups with donations. That's one way to look at it as well. That he can use that money to actually help the groups, the marginalized groups, even more. We don't really know the internal dialogue, the internal thinking. And actually, Henderson has to discuss this first and foremost with his family, and not with the Liverpool fan base or with Jurgen Klopp as well. A Liverpool fan is saying on Reddit, everyone has got morals until generational wealth is on offer. And that's multi-generational wealth. His great-grandkids will be millionaires, is what another Liverpool fan is saying. I mean, this is absolutely crazy, the amount of money that is flying around. Another Liverpool fan is saying, whoever is Henderson's agent is probably fighting for his life for this deal to go through, because the agent is getting like a 5 or 10% cut, and that would be life-changing money for the agent himself as well. Absolutely crazy. And I mean, if this Saudi Arabian club is offering £30 million per year to Jordan Henderson as a contract, then they should offer at least a minimum 15, maybe even 20 million for Jordan Henderson. Yes, he's 33 years old, but he still has 2 years left on his contract, and he's still England international, huge player, international reputation as well, very, very famous worldwide. So it would be a massive coup for this club to get Jordan Henderson. But for Liverpool to consider this, the Liverpool fan base have to think and contemplate that our last 2 captains, both Liverpool legends, Steven Gerrard and then Jordan Henderson, for the last 20-25 years they have been Liverpool captains, and now they will be swimming in oil money in Saudi Arabia. Where is football going? You have to ask that question. Many Liverpool fans are really shocked and surprised at this, me included. And I mean, if David Ornstein is reporting this, you know that this is a solid story. It's not some BS rumor from an unknown journalist. This is like top tier 1 journalist, David Ornstein. So losing Henderson, James Milner and potentially Fabinho in one season, surely it means that we have to keep Thiago, because he will be our most experienced midfielder. And I mean, I don't care if Thiago leaves for free next summer. We need at least one experienced midfielder. And Thiago is still an absolute baller. And I said that I would keep Thiago ahead of Henderson, or even ahead of Fabinho. If there is a big offer for Fabinho, I would consider selling. For the Henderson deal, I'm a little bit more like lenient towards letting Henderson leave because of his age, because of his decline and everything else. But on Fabinho, we need at least 40 million, maybe try to get even more for him from Al Ittihad. Some people are even saying that if Liverpool sell both Fabinho and Henderson, then we could hijack the Moises Caicedo deal under the noses of Chelsea. And even Declan Rice is not confirmed by Arsenal, but I think it's only a matter of time. Moises Caicedo with Chelsea, it's not as advanced. They are still talking with Brighton on the transfer fee. And some Liverpool fans are saying that this all feels depressing, regardless of whether we should keep him from a sporting perspective. I mean, Henderson, I'm talking about. You can see both arguments on the for and against reasons for keeping Jordan Henderson. The progressive reputation Henderson has built for himself will be ripped up instantly if he signs for a Saudi Arabian club. Him even considering this move and contemplating it probably damages the reputation of Jordan Henderson. But when it's about life-changing money and generational wealth, then maybe that's football for you, that everybody has a price. As depressing as that sounds, I mean, that's why it's a little bit hypocritical. And how can you believe any footballer standing up for minority groups when at the first chance they go to Saudi Arabia and it's just a few months later? That's what's really weird and strange about this. And there is a clear strategy in Saudi Arabia not to just rely on their oil to keep sustaining the country, because they are fully aware that the world is moving away from fossil fuels and their oil supplies are diminishing and unsustainable. The amount of money in sport these days is attractive to Saudi Arabia and they want to be the hub of it all. For example, the recent golf takeover attempt and the fact that they are investing heavily into UFC and boxing. Al Ettifaq are certainly not poor by any stretch, but in order to make the world have any interest in this Saudi Arabian league, every team has to be competitive. It's almost like they saw the Super League attempt from a few years ago and they are trying to run a Super League for themselves with the way that they are signing big stars from all over Europe. I mean, Karim Benzema, the current Ballon d'Or winner, signing for Saudi Arabia. And also, if Henderson goes there, then the game is truly gone. Some Liverpool fans are already saying it. I wouldn't go as far as that, but I mean, it's crazy the amount of money that is flying around, that's for sure. Let me know what you think about everything that we talked about in the comments below. And thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.